chungwa ta mikbi yuba che chade yu
아니 간제 빨라기 아니 나미 치포라 제와 메와 코란기 미릭라 제와 슈즈 요레 나 총드네 차레 가렌낭네 답부타고 약부지 용약이 코란기 베 탑셰는 거 요레.
The impact of my father has been great. He's not been just a father, but also a mentor, a guide, in every phase of my life. And the lessons he taught me were never like he would sit me down and give me a lesson or a lecture. It was always by how he led through his values and through his actions that made me realize what a parent should be, what an individual or human being should be, and what a child or a responsible human being should be in this world today.
This was the legacy that he has lived with. It was East and West. It was humility and compassion, and it was unconditional love.
My father was one of His Holiness's caretakers and a member of the Tibetan government. Once in India, my father worked on various capacities. He helped in the re-establishment of the Tibetan government in exile. He edited His Holiness the first autobiography, My Land and My People. He was involved in the relocation of the Tibetan refugees in the settlements, including the monasteries, as the Home Secretary from North to South India. And later, he worked in the settlements in South India and was involved with the development of it. In retirement, as you can see, reflected by the people here, he inspires many of us to promote Tibetan values, to make our world a more peaceful place, and work on the development projects to improve livelihoods. One such project that I and a number of us have dedicated ourselves to in the last 5 years is the development of an economic model to make the largest Tibetan refugee settlement, Dugeling Mongol. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize my mother, as she's one of the kindest individuals and an embodiment of compassion. She's my family's rock, our father's rock.
Good morning, and thank you. Tashi Delek. Craig and I are honored to join in celebrating the life and teachings of Mr. Gyaltsen Choden, or for all of us today, Pala. The values that you teach, Your Holiness, and of the values of Pala have lived through your deep faith and commitment to the Tibetan tradition, and they enlighten our world. I especially learned from your teachings on respect and inclusivity, love, compassion, and understanding of interdependence. We have been taught that everyone, whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist, believer or non-believer, is trying to find happiness that cannot be found through wealth or through power or through force. Instead, we know we have to find happiness through training our own minds.
India and Tibet are brothers. One very strong link between Tibet and India is the Nalanda tradition. And most notably, the Tibetans were the guardians of the Nalanda tradition. India being the guru and the Tibetans being the chela. And when the Chinese invaded Tibet and Palala escaped to India, along with many wise Tibetan elders and holy men, as karma would have it, who had safeguarded the Nalanda tradition for hundreds of years, brought it back to the homeland.
We have been included in this wonderful family that Pala and Amala have created. And I also just want to conclude by saying that in terms of carrying on the legacy, Kathy and I remain very much committed to picking up and continuing the work which Palala began.
So we really feel like we're so much a part of this family. And his father has been my guide he gave me my name, and he said, yes, I want you to be named Tsering Dokar, which means long life, long life. For all the time since, we've been working together and doing more and more projects.
Today is such a special day because we are celebrating someone who, in the midst of a very difficult life, losing his country, wandering into exile, but still clinging to the reality that everything is possible, that happiness and freedom is possible, and making his contribution to it, and thereby having the energy, drawing on that reality, to be with us 100 years and many more years. And that's Gyaltsen Choden. And that is the whole nature of the Tibetan people and the Tibetan culture. And he is a most honored representative of that nature and that culture.